Hi, this is Ted. I'm going to talk today about Betty Hinn. I had a video out a few weeks ago, maybe a month or so ago, about Benny Hinn and him having COVID. Evidently, it upset Benny or his group. Not sure who was upset about it, but I got a strike against me in YouTube for having a video that used copyrighted material. Now the problem is I use this kind of material all the time, but nobody says anything, nobody does anything. I'll tell you why. Paula White tried 2 years ago against the Shirley Johnson, and it turned to backfire on Paula. It also seems that Paula's critics began increasing in number, not only from her own churches, but also from around the country. Some of the most vicious animals are those who are under attack or who believe they are under attack and are protecting something very important to them. Like an animal being cornered, Paula lashed out. 2 lawsuits stand out during this time of her life. And these are by no means the only lawsuits Paula orchestrated, but they are interesting. The first lawsuit was against a new online news organization owned by Dow Jones called Heat Street. Called a sister company to Fox News, Heat Street became an instant hit with over 8 million users within the first year. However, despite its success, it was swallowed up by MarketWatch during its first year. Heat Street decided to write an article about Paula before it was swallowed up, and so the writer of the article called Paula to ask her about some of the allegations past employees had brought up. Paula quickly sent some of the best lawyers to threaten Heat Street. They threatened to sue Heat Street, sue Dow Jones, and sue the writer, Jillian K. Melcher, for millions of dollars. But Jillian K.'s work on this article was thorough and solid. Good enough to help promote her into the Wall Street Journal as an editorial page writer. I can only guess, but the lawsuit probably never came to fruition because Heat Street folded so quickly after it started for reasons unrelated to Paula's lawsuit. However, the article was published and it can be found on the internet today. The second lawsuit of note would be humorous if it were not so sad. It was against a small-time YouTuber who criticized Paula and used clips from Paula's shows. Shirley Johnson had a YouTube channel that made no money, and it was designed in part to point out the errors of Paula's teachings. In a move to protect her empire, Paula sued the YouTuber for alleged copyright infringement. But in the court, the judge was not really happy about this lawsuit, as the Paula White team knowingly misrepresented copyright laws, refused to hand over requested documents, and treated the court with arrogance. The court documents say that the judge dismissed the case with prejudice and advised Shirley to pursue affirmative relief against Paula White Ministries for malicious prosecution. She did countersue, and she won over $30,000 in damage due to emotional struggles that she had because Paula White had threatened her. The judge's remarks and his frustration with Paula White Ministries, their attitude and their lack of cooperation, is very similar to what the IRS said about their ministry. Coming up next week, it's a very special bachelorette event. Will Paula find true love? It's the moment you've been waiting for. All right, so that's that story. And I think ever since then, I think these preachers have they back off. Rather than trying to protect their ministry against those who use film that they set out on YouTube. I'm not sure if that film that I had of him admitting that he had COVID for a month and really sick I'm not sure if it was that or if it was the thumbnail that I had, where you see him in bed looking really sick. One of those two things bothered that group, maybe both of them, because in the video I suggest this looks bad. For him to admit that he's, from a faith healer's point of view that is, it looks bad that he's being honest with people. He shouldn't be honest with people if he wants his ministry to be going forward as a healer. Why? Because healers don't get sick. First of all, he's telling people they shouldn't be sick. And if you need faith to get over sickness, and in the gospel it promises complete healing, all this kind of stuff, and it goes contrary to his teachings. If he, the one who teaches this stuff, doesn't have enough faith or whatever, according to, it's going contrary to a lot of his teachings, that he gets sick for a month, and so sick. Now, these people don't get that even Paul, the apostle, had people that traveled with him who got sick, nigh unto death. Timothy got sick oftentimes, and for his stomach's sake, he says, drink a little wine for your stomach's sake and your often infirmities. So people got sick in the New Testament. Don't give me the stuff. It was never any sickness with Christians. There was a short period of time we'll talk to you about in a minute. The other thing it could have been is the thumbnail. What's a thumbnail? Thumbnail is that picture you see on YouTube. When you open up, you'll see all these pictures, and you tap on that picture and you get into the film. Thumbnail is that first picture. Most thumbnails are created in Photoshop. Mine was created in Photoshop. I took a picture of him, took his face out of that picture, and I put it on somebody on bed, like there's somebody sick in bed. And so it looks like Benny is sick in bed. Truth is, he looked a lot worse, I guarantee, when he was going through his ordeal. Nevertheless, that image says a lot. It says a lot to people who want to see him as a godlike person who can bring faith healing into their lives. One of those two things bothered them, and for that reason I got a strike against me. All right, that's all I got to say. This is Ted. You all have a good one. And petition. Petition Benny Hinn. And tell him he can't take down my videos. All right, this is Ted. No big deal. We'll see you. Bye.